afternoon and welcome to another Kerfuffle show here. Delighted to have with us Mike Delapper Vouch. Hello, how are you, Mike? You okay?
Not too bad, thanks. There's not enough coffee in the world today, but other than that, yeah, no complaints.
Excellent. Okay, good stuff. Becky Dutton from CGT Letting. How are you, Becky? You well?
I'm very good. A little bit cooler than last week, which is nice, but
that was fantastically needed. I was hiding under rocks and anywhere else like that last week. As a chippy northerner, I didn't cope well with that weather at all.
Yeah. No, it's just rained here, but I think it's stopped, so that'll do now. More sunshine, please.
Just to explain to the audience, we haven't done some sort of Olympic choreograph here. I am doing the little man routine, so Mike is very much top of the tree here as the alpha, and I'm just sat doing my Ronnie Corbett routine at the bottom end. But we're going to talk today. The title is really how the pandemic has changed the way we reference. And what I'm really keen to understand from you guys is to understand, obviously, Mike, from your point, what Vouch did in terms of understanding how the market was changing, and then, of course, Becky, from your point of view as a user, to see, how they helped you along in the process as we've all tried to find a way through. So, can I just kick off just to start off with, if that's all right, Mike? When it first we went straight into lockdown, what were the first steps you took in terms of realizing that you had to pivot and change the business?
Sure, and it's been a while since I've been called Mark, by the way, but I mean, I've been called a lot worse, so I'll take Mark, honestly. But from there, to be fair, I wouldn't say what we were doing at Vouch, because obviously our platform is digitally based. It's something you can do online. It's cloud based. So I wouldn't say as soon as the pandemic hit, we were all sat here going, "Oh no, what are we going to do?" Because we actually had a product that was quite well adapted for for sort of being online and being able to provide a solution from there. It was more, can we emphasize that? Can we get that information out into a wider scope? So in a sense, can we also look to grow what we're doing here by saying to agents in particular, we have this solution for you already. It isn't something drastic you need to go out there and try and evolve with. It's here, and we had to spend more time promoting that as well.
Would it be fair to say then on that point, one of the biggest competitors I guess you have is not per se the actual competitors. It's actually been the intransigence of some agents who have always done it in one particular way and they don't want to change. And actually, for you, that might have, not that you ever want to use the pandemic as an excuse for an improvement in business, but it did force them to change what they were doing, didn't it?
And I couldn't agree more. I think the thing about it is, we're very lucky in that Vouch can sit here and say, look, during pandemic times, these hard times have all been going through, we've actually done really well and continue to grow. And we don't say that with an arrogance. We're actually quite humble about it because it did happen. From there, in our time, I think over the pandemic, we've practically doubled in staff size because we have that online digital solution that doesn't involve having 40 people running around doing referencing in a really old school way where they're having to go through call centers and pens and paper and all that jazz. So it's, I know it sounds a bit, but we're not sat here saying, great, we profited from a horrible situation or something like that, but we did have a solution that people could use and agents found a lot of value in as well. And that's just how it fell.
Excellent. And Becky, from your point of view, could you just give a bit of context where you are in the business with CGT Lettings and just explain to us how long you've been with Vouch, and again, just that kind of process of how you saw them helping you through this pandemic period?
Yeah, well, like Mike said, the fact that everything's all digital was fantastic for us during lockdown. I've been with the company for coming up 2 years, and I know it was about 2 years before that we swapped over to them. And it was great. I mean, we were all working from home. No one knew when the lockdown was lifted, but we still managed as an agent to rent properties digitally and do references sat, at our own desks at home, because like I said, everything was done. They could upload everything from their own phones onto Vouch, and we can download it from Vouch and upload it to our system without having to have any paper trails as such. I mean, when we came back to the office, we did, because we do have to have a paper trail in the end of the day, but we could do everything digitally, which was phenomenal, and it was a great help. And like I said, we still managed to tie up lets for our landlords.
And I think it's worth pointing out, isn't it? It's a good job that you know, if we'd gone back even kind of 5 years ago, certainly 10 years ago, and we'd gone into this period, we literally couldn't have coped in the same way. I mean, you know, with tools like Vouch that are so accessible, so easy to do, the digital experience and everything else there, that did allow you without too much of a hop, skip and a jump, did it, to not just maintain, but to extend that service that you gave to clients.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've been doing this job for many a year, and like you said, it's only been in the last probably about 5-6 years that it has all gone online, where before tenants would have to physically come in and fill out forms. And also from a tenant's point of view as well, it's nice and quick for them. They get updates automatically from Vouch. So from an agent's point of view, they're not phoning us all the time going, what's happening with my references? Where are we? Because they know they're kept up to date constantly through Vouch, which is brilliant. And they update us at the same time.
Yeah.
But I think tenants and people are getting more used to technology and used to doing everything online, where back in the day you'd email them something and they might, you know, have an email that they set up when they were 16 at school and have never checked, and they've got 20 million junk things in them. But people are a lot more digitally accessible now.
That's true, isn't it? You know, you're not being judged against, again, the competitors in this industry per se. People actually have an expectation now because of what they're ordering their taxis on Uber, whether they're ordering their food on Deliveroo, all that instant ability to do stuff like that at the touch of a button on whatever device is pretty much now the norm, isn't it? Expected. And if you aren't able to meet that expectation, they're going to judge you unfairly, regardless actually of what the competition are doing.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, you know, we have to, as an agent, as you know, as Vouch have done, you have to evolve and you have to, you know, be ahead of the times to meet people's expectations like that. You know, we've started doing things a lot more digitally now than we ever used to, and it's having a great effect on us because people are able to view properties from the comfort of their own home. People don't really want to, like you said, everything's digital. You can order your food online, you can order clothes online, you can order like anything. Amazon's, you know, opened the world up to 2 minutes later it's on your desk. So people want that instant, and that's what Vouch can offer. It's, you know, the references come back very, very quickly. You know, but when I first started doing this, you might have been waiting a week, 2 weeks for a reference to come back. Yeah. But with the way the Vouch do it, they're constantly updating the tenant, going, we still haven't heard back. Can you do this? Can you do that? So it puts more emphasis on the tenant to do something rather than just the agent. And like I said, constant updates, which is fantastic. And that's what everyone wants.
Everyone's, you know, I say everyone, lots of people are like me, are like floaty butterflies, aren't they? The minute they actually drifts out of your kind of attention span as well, it takes them a long while to get them back inside, doesn't it? To get them back on the ball there. So if you are able to deal with it in a short period of time, you're going to have far less fall throughs and just being able to make sure that everything goes through without a hitch.
Yeah, and when things, you know, references do come back and they're a fail, which does happen, not everyone always tells the truth on their application forms, and hence the reason we use people like Vouch to double check these things. But because it's so quick, then you're not having a massive delay of a property being, you know, off the market. You can put it back on the next day, or you can phone the people that, you know, have also come forward for it and get it tied up again. Also, from an agent's point of view, that, you know, the benefit of being so quickly is that, you know, one of our branches, they had someone come in on a Thursday, they moved in on a Friday. Yeah. You know, and that all helps. You know, it helps the landlords. Landlords are happier because they've got less void periods. Helps us obviously with our figures and our numbers and getting lets in, and it helps this applicant because he was living in a hotel. So everyone was happy, and we wouldn't be able to do that if, you know, the references took as long as they used to do.
Yeah, and I think.
Sorry, go on, Mike.
No, sorry, Simon. I was going to say the one thing I think Becky was almost touching on it there, but we find it very widespread with the agents who we talk to and deal with on a day-to-day basis. What sort of the whole referencing process lacked before Vouch came on the scene was being able to include an agent in what's happening. You know, we used to find that an agent would sort of say, like, you know, I've no idea what's happening with this reference. I'll just have to ring and chase and find out. Having that ability to have it on the fingertips and say, here you go, have a look. You know, some agents will look at that, oh, great, I've got to do a little bit more work. You do, there's a little bit more on your lap you have to deal with, but it almost lets you take part when you need to as well, rather than just simply sat around with someone who's not an employee of yours, that you don't have that trust with, carrying out some work that you can't even see. It's quite a laboured old school process.
Got you. And I think, again, that's, one of the things that I've heard people talk about is with the downward pressure that there is on, things like tenant referencing. People have said, well, it's getting commoditized now and it's all the same. But the problem with that, a bit like when they talk about with online agents, is you've got to be able to deliver at the price point you guys have, Mike, haven't you, with Vouch? You can't just go and do that by sucking the service out of it. You have to have the technical, technical platform to be able to get those efficiencies to do that at scale, don't you? And that's what a lot of people just forget. If you're just taking the bottom out of it, then you are going to take service out of it. But you've come at it from quite a disruptional point of view in that approach, haven't you?
Yeah, that's where the savings have come from. It's more, can we take this process? And essentially the word that I say more than anything in this office when I'm speaking about Vouch is automate. Because we've automated out the entire process and made it tenant friendly, as well as making it a smooth journey for the tenants to do, for the agents to see, it's also slimmed the costs right down. So what we're not passing off at the end of the process is, here, you've made a massive saving, and that's only because we've diluted the whole service down to the point where it's, noticeably a worse product than those who pay full price. They're still getting the same, report, reference, experience. The same thing is still coming out at the end of the ketchup bottle once they've banged on the end of it. It's just they've literally spent about a quarter of the price to do it. And that's the joy of it, because we do have some, over the years, I think a lot of other providers out there have either tried to copy what we do unsuccessfully, but also undercut us on price. But then those agents who've gone out there and undertaken that and thought, great, I'll go and spend £3 on this new reference service, they're then coming back a month later and saying, well, actually, it's rubbish. It's not doing what I need it to do. It's such a poor process, and that's the difference in our eyes.
That makes it. Would you echo that, Becky, in terms of that's your kind of experience of it as well? Is that, certainly in terms of what their service is back to you, that it's able to deliver on that promise of the customer satisfaction?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, it's not often that we do have to phone them if there's any queries, but as soon as we do, it's sorted straight away. And I always think, yes, as a business, you always want to find the best. I always think the best product out there, not necessarily the best deal and the money saving thing, because just because it's, like you said, Mike, just because it's cheaper doesn't mean it's better. So sometimes it's good to pay, the extra couple of quid to get the better service. And to have people, like I said, on the phone even when you need them to get it sorted. So if we ever have an issue with a reference that comes back, if there's a query on it, literally phone them, they answer straight away, and it's sorted straight away. So again, we're not waiting for people to phone you back or anything like that. So if it's, I've used other companies within doing this for so long, and that's what I've had to do before. Not within CGT, it's with, before I came here, but it's frustrating when you're waiting, you've got someone that's moving in the next day, you're waiting just for everything else is ready to go, and you left them a message with a query and they take 3 hours to get back to you.
Critical point of failure, isn't it?
Yeah, because then you've got even less a limited time to get it rectified for the next day. So if you phone at Vouch and they said, right, this is the issue, you can get it sorted then, and you can still move people in.
Thank you. And Mike, from your point of view, with all that, it's kind of, you've got a lot of analytical skills, obviously, there over at Vouch, and so during that pandemic, were you able to identify any pain points in essentially the rental sector during the pandemic, and if you did, were you able to actually do anything to help the agents combat those?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, outside of just referencing, what Vouch does, it's kind of like a bit of a one-stop shop for other things. So the other things I'm about to mention to you actually all handily arrived on pain points at some point during the last 12 or 18 months. First off, rent guarantee insurance. A lot of providers out there, insurance providers out there, just dropped the cover. There was no cover because obviously very difficult market for them to operate in without charging massive premiums and ultimately pricing themselves out of that. We were quite lucky in that our rent guarantee insurance provider actually was one of the quickest ones back on the market with a good level of cover. So as a result of that, there's a lot of agents out there who used it already and wanted to carry on using it, who then came to us to ask about it and on board. And also there was those agents as well who literally never touched rent guarantee insurance before, and they were sat there thinking, well, actually, I've got absolutely hundreds of landlords asking for it. They're going berserk, and that was something we could help them with as well. So absolutely, definitely having that was a real pain point, certainly in the first 6 months. Not because I think the great disaster happened. I don't think it actually happened. But the difference is there's always that scare. Is scaredness a word? I'm not even sure if it's a real thing. But
if I can call you Mark, you can call it.
Yeah, exactly. It's not countdown. I get that. I can probably get away with the odd thing here that I couldn't normally. But the thing about it is they were frightened of what was on the horizon, as we all were as well. So it's just having that solution in place to say to him, here it is. It's a product that you can use that your landlords will want, and it genuinely being the case as well. The other thing I think that was a pain point that I think Becky's already touched on quite quickly as always, just how the tenant deals with a digitized referencing process, or how they would get how would the letting agent get that information across to a tenant in the quickest way? Because all of a sudden we now existed in a housing market where, the houses were going up for rent on a Thursday and drowned in applications by Thursday night, and someone was banging on the door trying to move in on a Saturday morning. It was that quick from there. So just being able to take people out of the process. I know that sounds horrible. We don't want to lose people, but ultimately, what we don't rely on here when Becky logs online and types in some information for us to get going with is it doesn't rely on a massive call center with everybody not being on furlough, chasing stuff around. We just present a virtual application form to them. So we got that information to them. They could fill it out on the spot, transmit it straight back to Becky, and hey presto, it was back on Becky's lap in an ideal world on the same day as well.
And you're absolutely right there. I mean, there was some massive corporate FTSE 100 companies. I won't name the actual bank, but I know certainly mine, who, because they had people at every step of the process, literally just weren't able to you couldn't get through to them for 48 hours, could you? Because the systems just weren't in place. They still needed the person, essentially the human being, to make that happen. And when those people fell by the wayside, it was impossible for the business to go on, and it was incredible how long it actually took some of those massive companies to cater. So what I'm saying is, if those guys didn't get into it, of course, it echoes the issue that would have been there around many other businesses.
Yeah, and I think that's it. I've tried ringing Virgin Media Twitch, my provider, mid-pandemic, and if I got a quid for every minute I was on hold, I wouldn't even be here now. I'd be on a beach somewhere. It was that crazy. But only the one, just to quickly point out that definitely was a pain point was, there's a lot of agents out there, of course, who also wanted to, look at maximize what they were earning during difficult times as well. Because one thing we do hear a lot of is how agents can make some good money just off utility referrals, which is something that we've always sort of thought of ourselves as being a pioneer for. We do have now something called the Home Move Assistant, which has been out for about 6 months. So the main thing about this is we were able to notify the tenants who were moving in places of all these sort of discounted deals for TV, broadband, contents insurance, energy, that sort of thing. We could show this to them just in one big interactive portal from there. So again, we took the phone calls out of the process, and they didn't like them. I don't like them, where you're getting people ringing you 3 times a day and you're like, look, I get it, we're all trying to earn a living, but at the same time, please leave me alone. Just giving them access to that type of environment where it's a little online shop, they can come in, it's got all the direct feeds straight into those providers there, and then so you don't have to ring the Virgin Medias of the world. Because it's all on their lap, they could just do it quickly, painlessly, conveniently, and it would still end up with the agent having the commission referred back to them without having to do that heavy lifting. So
it's that convenience point, that ability to self-service yourself as and when you need to do it is really what a large percentage of the public want to do these days.
Yeah, exactly. And I think from our point of view, that was an important step for us to introduce as well. It has something that's gone well from there, because ultimately it is saying to the tenants will go to their agents an awful lot from experience and say, actually, I've got 3 million things I need to do before I move in here. Do you know anywhere where I can go and shop and get a decent deal for this? And be able to, the agent, for them to be able to turn around and go, yeah, just follow this link and it's all on there. Just really took a pain point out of it, definitely.
Great. And Becky, I mean, we were talking off camera just earlier, weren't we? That sounds like you would very much echo what Mike had to say there in terms of just that just massive, just basic core difficulty of the amount of demand and having to service that.
Yeah, definitely. Like Mike said, people, cold. I don't want to call them cold calls, but you do get calls when you're at work about something, and it might be a really useful phone call, but if you're at work, it's like, oh, I'll phone you back, or I don't want to know about it. People, I think, like the idea that they can do it at their own leisure. They don't feel forced into anything. It's like going into a shop and having people coming up to you all the time going, do you want to buy this? Do you want to buy this? It's like, no, I just want to have to run the shop and make my own choice. And if I've got a question, I can go to you. And that's that, and that is the beauty of that product. And like I said, everything is under one roof. So they can pick and choose what they want. They can have, utility supplies. They can have broadband, the works, and they can just choose one thing or the whole package. So. And there's no pressure for them to just choose like everything. They can just choose one if they want to. So that's, it's very useful.
It must change that, as you just quite rightly. There's nothing more annoying, is there, than somebody in the shop continually badgering you. If you're like me, I'll doubt that shop within seconds there. But that, without it having to be the hard selling, you've got it at your time and leisure to have a look at this. These things by definition, almost all the time, are stuff you are going to need. So per se, you can save them amount of time and get them the right deals. Positioned correctly, that should be seen as a benefit, not a negative, should it?
Yeah, no, it is definitely a benefit. And like I said, the fact that, again, back in the day, they used to just have phone calls or bombarded with emails. And I think if you do have that, you're not going to be interested in even looking at a product, let alone, answering the phone, and you're going to get frustrated. But if you've got the option, and like Mike said, tenants will come in and go, I've got 10 million and one things to do and swap and got to get broadband in and phone lines and where can I go to help? And we'll just follow the link, and at your own leisure, you can just, and they sort it all out for you. It's a hell of a lot better for tenants because there's so much to remember when you move.
Yes, yeah, absolutely right. And I think we always forget how, we always think the public are completely comfortable and up to speed with everything that goes on, but half the time they're walking through what they feel is a minefield themselves, don't they?
Yeah, and a lot of people that rent, they've never done it before. They've moved out of home, and it's the first time. They're all very, very excited, and they think it's just a case of doing a reference, signing some paperwork, and move in. But then it's like, well, no, you've got to, make sure everything else is set up. So to have that like hand holding for them as such is really beneficial.
Yeah, good. And how did the sort of pandemic affect some of the core things like, fall throughs and everything else there? Did furlough impact in terms of on the way that tenants and everything else happened with yourselves? What was that impact? Was there an impact from that?
Well, we worked quite closely with Vouch, and obviously it was a case of if they were furloughed, and we could prove that they're furloughed, and as long as the 80% was still past the affordability, that was fine. We also had to take into consideration, like at the back end of the year, if people had fallen into rent arrears because they were on furlough, we would work quite closely and speak and say, well, are they on a payment plan? Could they pay it off? How much is the rent? Or if they have been in rent arrears, but they've now cleared it, we would then have that as an accept. Rather than before, it would be an automatic fail if anyone was in rent arrears before. So you have to take it on face value. Obviously, you find out a bit more information about it as an agent, but we've all had to be a little bit more flexible, I think, because of COVID.
Yes, yeah, that ability to be, and not everyone can be can pivot the business as much, can they, like that without partners like Vouch?
Yeah.
And I think, actually, Simon, I'll just touch on that as well, and hopefully, or Becky will back me up here. Otherwise, this might get awkward quite quickly. But that's one of the key selling points we always drill down about Vouchers. It actually gives a bit of power back to the agent. They can actually have a look at these tenants and effectively use a bit of common sense and/or judgment about these people as well. What we don't do here is start telling agents at the end, no, they're no good, or yeah, no, have them, they're fine. Because ultimately, the tenants that are moving in there, whoever's referenced them, whether it's us or somebody else, that responsibility immediately lands right back on the lap of the agent. So our view has always been, at the end of this, yes, have a look, and yes, we'll tell you what we think you should do with these tenants, but by all means, apply a bit of common sense, because ultimately, people like Becky and her branch, they meet these tenants. They know them in person. Nobody's perfect. Those grey areas are there, for a reason as well.
Yeah. And ultimately, it's us having the conversations with the landlords at the end of the day. So, yeah, it's nice to have that little bit of flexibility. And as Mike said, to use our common sense and our experience as agents to, make the final decision.
Got you. And Mike, from your point of view, I mean, in terms of you must have seen quite a bit of, in fact, you will have seen a lot of business come from those competitors who have, tried to pivot and haven't managed to do it. Their policies aren't delivering on what they were expecting to do. We asked you for some of those standout stats that would, kind of be impressive. And from what I understand is you said that you've seen a 78% increase in digital reference volumes compared to last year. And that was on top of a 62% increase in customers overall. As demand for obviously this kind of effective level of PropTech just increased exponentially, really.
Exactly. And I think from our point of view, that has become because 4 years ago, we got ahead of the game. For instance, it isn't, I'm always keen to stress this. Yes, we have seen a massive spike during, the current situation that we're in, but that's not because of the current situation that we're in. It's because 4 years ago, we got ahead of the game, bought it online, automated out the whole process so that solution was sat here waiting for people to use as well. Yeah. Whether this, pandemic happened or not, this was always going to take a surge at some point from there. And that's because, like Becky's already touched on, people want things instantly. People want things doing quickly. They want less hassle because everybody's got increasingly complex and busy lives from there as well. So we noticed that massive spike in referencing volumes going through because those older methods, agents were turning away from them. They were saying, look, I've been with this provider for 15 years. I've always used him, but I'm now hopping over to these more advanced methods like Vouch because it is literally light years ahead of, of someone being sat in an office, fielding phone calls, ringing and writing things down and then getting on people don't want to play games of phone tag anymore. I never wanted to do it. I don't know anyone who has any enjoyment out of it, but that old method has got a shelf life and it's pretty much here now. From that point of view, this has speeded up what we already knew.
Well, as you said, people have moved away from, ironically, these phones can do so much now, but apart from the fact that for many people, they don't seem to actually use them as phones. What they will do is they will destroy you and they'll move away from you and then they'll destroy you on review sites and everything. That seems to be the modern way of doing it. And you've managed to keep your customer satisfaction levels up at a really high level, haven't you? So it's kind of there for all to see that you're delivering on that promise.
Yeah, and that's it. The thing about it is, well, I suppose, again, we're probably quite lucky in the service that we provide as well, but we do have some very good scores on your feedback sites, etc. as well. And we let tenants do that as well. We make a big thing every time we pass another 1,000 reviews on there that have all gone really well and stuff. We're delighted by it. But, we haven't gone online there and manufactured that. It's just simply tenants found it easy, agents found it simple and not paying through the nose for it. So it's, it's nice and transparent as well. What we don't have here, is like these big, we don't make a big thing out of like fixed term contracts and that sort of thing. We like to just people judge us on the merit of the service as well. I think the one thing that we do end up with in very small percentage of cases is some agents coming on board and saying, whoa, this is really different. And it does take some getting used to, but if they bed in and get used to it, they literally never look back from that point. It's, we're obviously delighted. Yeah.
All change should be a bit uncomfortable, shouldn't it, really? Otherwise, it's not really change, is it?
Yeah. Well, I got given a new electric toothbrush for Christmas, and I've still not really worked it out. But yeah.
Well, I could say the same about my treadmill, but that's just a clothes horse at the moment. Anyway, so let's just talk about now. Obviously, that was going through the whole kind of pandemic process. And everything else. What are you most looking forwards to as things start to obviously open up again?
Are you going for Becky on that, or are you going for me? Sorry.
Yeah, whoever wants to jump in, I will allow a free.
Well, I can go first. I'm just looking forward to, I mean, we've been back in the office. We're as busy as ever. The rental market has just gone crazy at the moment. Yeah. So just as always, looking forward to getting more properties on so we can let them to all the applicants we've got banging on our door wanting to move. And then obviously putting them through Vouch and getting them moved in as soon as possible.
Yeah,
really. So I think the lettings market is as strong as it's ever been. I know there's lots of changes in legislations for landlords that have come in, but from like an investment point of view, it's definitely the way forward. And we'll see it keep going on and on. Prices are going up. Rental prices are going up, so it's more important than ever that you do reference the tenants correctly and use companies like Vouch to make sure that obviously the credit searches have done everything and it ticks all the boxes, so you're not just moving people in that can't afford the house. So yeah, it's going to be a good couple of years coming forward, I think, in the rental market.
It's a time like that, Becky, isn't it? When you say something like that, you need to touch some wood just to make sure that we don't jinx the whole thing. Because, as you said, it's looking pretty good for the foreseeable, isn't it? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, rental. There'll always be a market in rentals because the people always need to rent. I mean, house sales go up and down. I mean, it's more and more difficult with interest rates and things for people to save to get on the house market. So I do think that the rental market is going to be booming in the next couple of years, or continue to boom, I should say. But like I said, that's why it's really important to have a company like Vouch to help you through it.
Nice. Okay. And Mike, from your point of view?
Two things really. I'm cheating on the answer, admittedly, so excuse me and indulge me just for a minute. But the number one in a wider scale thing, just I know whatever normal looks like is going to look different from how it used to, but just having a pattern of normal again, from that side of things in the market, in how agents are operating. Because for the last 12 months, whenever we speak to anyone on the agent side, it's always, if such and such is on furlough, or someone's back and they're getting up to speed, or we've had to hire someone new, or just been all over the place. So just having something where agents feel a bit more stable again and having that bit more predictability to work with from there. In a more selfish sense, my role involves me actually physically going out and visiting things like conferences and spending some time with people face to face. I'm actually looking forward to doing that again because I've had to do it all virtually for the last 12 months or so. If I have to hear someone say I'm on mute or my sound's off or my camera's not working ever again, I'm gonna explode.
So just on a very selfish personal level, it's all about
that second point is 100% the most selfish thing you'll hear today. But just just being able to interact with people face to face again, because that is what is at the heart of a lot of the good things that happen here as well.
Mike, we're in prop tech. We're allowed to be in our ivory towers, aren't we? That's kind of the role.
Yeah, no. I need to hide behind my camera at all times. I'm only kidding. But
okay. And from your point of view, and I will ask yourself as well, Becky, does it help really having because clearly they've always had a strong technical strength in terms of the platform and continuing on, but clearly as well, Mike, you got together with Good Lord, and that you're only going to get closer and closer on you on there. So does that offer up some real results going forwards for your clients, do you believe, on that basis?
Yeah, and that's the idea, as you just alluded to. We've spent the last year making some new friends as well. I'm reliably informed when we can see them again. They're quite good for buying a few rounds as well. So looking forward to that when that happens. But and I'll hold 100%. I'm holding them to that as well. They think I'm kidding, but I'm not. But the idea behind having this new friendship and this new integration is, let's make it easier again. We spent a lot of time competing with Good Lord. But we discovered quite quickly that we're not offering the same thing. In fact, actually, the two of us are offering solutions that can be very easily intertwined to the great benefit of those who use us as well. So it's just another step in taking things online, providing a solution that doesn't involve, old methods as well. It's actually just giving a more user-friendly experience as well. Agents can still use Vouchers Vouch. Some love us, which we're very proud of, but some who use Good Lord have looked for a slicker referencing process. So it's just being able to give another answer to another question as well.
And Becky, I'm guessing that's what, as an agent, that's what you want, isn't it? Fewer companies working closer together can only help you, because otherwise it's how many spinning plates can you have?
Exactly. If you can even have like one point of call or one place that everything is covered under, like one umbrella, that's the aim of the game. Otherwise you're having to phone this person, and you've got loads of different areas, and clients don't like that either. They don't like having to phone different departments and dealing with different people. They just want one point of call or one area they need to get hold of, So it's a lot easier now that they are with Good Lord.
Excellent. Well, that's good. Well, look, guys, thank you very much for taking your time out to talk to us about it today. It's always really good to hear actual end users of this. We always obviously love talking to the suppliers themselves, but it really brings it to life when you can hear obviously how it helps you on a day-to-day basis. I'd encourage everybody obviously to go and have a look at the Vouch landing page on kerfuffle.com there. See, I think you've got over I think you've got 40 reviews plus or something like that, all of them 5-star, all of them goes quite a bit of detail talking about the different elements about how they like you. So there's a lot of social proof in there from what obviously the guys have been talking about today. And even better than that, if you want to give them a go as well, new Vouch customers who are Kerfuffle members will also get 10 free references. So there's no better time to give you guys a go really than at the moment, is there, Mike?
Yeah,
that's absolutely correct. Yeah, we don't give away much for free as well, so take advantage.
I wasn't expecting you to disagree with me, funny enough there. So. Guys, thank you very much. Becky, appreciate your time out. I know how red hot the market is, so it really is well appreciated. But for today, thank you very much, Becky and Mike. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Simon.
See you soon.
Thanks, Becky.
Bye.